What is going on, guys? Today we're going to be looking at the best icon in each position for the most efficient amount of coins. And as you can see, we're going in a 4-4-2, or at least as you can see the goalkeepers first, but we are going in a 4-4-2 so you can see each position. If you would prefer a different formation, let me know down below, and that could be the next one that we choose, each different position. What I have gone with, just quickly before we get into it, is the midfield. The wingers are, say, left mid, right mid. I have chosen it based on left mid or left wing, and then same with the centre mids. It is cam, CM and CDM, and it's just the most efficient in that sort of role. Obviously the formation you can choose can be varied, and if you'd like more options, we will be doing it more based on attackers, midfielders, defenders and goalkeepers in the near future, and have done it in previous. So if you want to take a look at that, then wait till the end to click on the next video. So the first goalkeeper coming up is going to be Armand van der Sar. So we have got a few keepers: Yashin, Cech, Schmeichel, obviously Van der Sar himself, and I think that is it. I feel like I'm missing one more, but I'm pretty sure that's it because Lehmann is out of the game now. But in terms of Van der Sar, all versions are pretty good, bar from the base, which does seem to be kind of overlooked a little bit. Mid is definitely the cheapest out of all three, well, out of all four of them, because now we do have a Team of the Year icon. And I think with keepers, it isn't necessarily determined much on price anymore, or even rating, to be really frank with it. I feel like as long as you've got somebody with a semi-good value of overall, it's kind of it. You can obviously chop and change with keepers. I've seen gold keepers still being used. You can see special keepers that have definitely just been packed and used. And obviously a lot of people will be using the Team of the Year Courtois if the weight does come down that little bit. And we've managed to pack one Team of the Year being Courtois, and the next other icon that we've got is Van der Sar, so we've rendered basically one of them useless. But Van der Sar himself, 6'6", has some good traits on him, obviously comes for crosses and long throw. Stat-wise, pretty standard, but I do know a lot of pros tend to use Van der Sar in any of it. So obviously, it is kind of the big factor for the most efficient, but it is very much down to your preference. Keepers is one of the positions this year that personally doesn't have a big telltale sign. Are you tired of using players like this? I would much rather have teams more like this. Then I recommend going over to skycoach.gg for all of your coaching and coins needs. They are cheap, fast and reliable, but at the checkout, make sure you are using code JT11 for a discount on your orders. Back to the video. And into right back, we have gone with Zambrotta. The base version of Zambrotta personally is one of my favorites. From the very start of the game, pretty much to a lot of the way through. I feel like fullbacks are needed to be semi-decent. They don't necessarily need to be top level in terms of Team of the Years really to notice a massive difference. As long as they've got a bit of pace, good amount of defending, physical, bit of passing, you're pretty set until footers. Because realistically, fullbacks eventually become into a player that, for instance, we see Atau, we see Trent, all going into a shapeshifter centre mid because they're very well rounded. Zambrotta is very good at the basics. A 4-star, 5-star, which is perfect. 5'11", high medium, can be left back as well, also as right mid, but he has got the pace already. Shooting wise, not too fussed. I don't particularly care to score with a right back or left back. Passing wise, semi-decent. Dribbling wise, again, not terrible. We need to work on it. Defending, again, some work could be done, but because we already have the pace being so high, we can get away with an anchor to raise up that defending and physical at the same time. We unfortunately have no traits for him, and obviously this is the cheaper version of Zambrotta. Personally, the mid goes downhill for me, then the prime is that little bit better, and we do have a World Cup one, which is a 90 rated as well, if you wanted that little bit higher rated Zambrotta. On to the first centre-back, that's going to be Bobby Moore. He is wonderful. As a price of just about 180 to 160k, this card is an absolute must. They have raised everything up for him. His agility balance went up, skyrocketed. His pace went up by like plus 16. He's already got incredible defending as well as some good physicals. This guy is an absolute monster at the back and most definitely will get my vote to be one of the most efficient defenders you can physically get. The passing's incredible on him. He just naturally has had a massive glow up. There's two cards that for me were, before this, useless. You would never see a guy use him, just never. base, mid, prime, Bobby Moore, Vidic, they are impossible to use out of their respected new versions. Bobby Moore got his in the World Cup, and I think personally for me it is on par, if not better than Vidic, especially for the price. And Vidic obviously got his in the Team of the Year icon, but it is coming in at a very, very high price. Hence why we have gone for Prime Blanc instead. One that I think gets overlooked mainly because from the outside, it doesn't look all that, to be honest. 79 pace, it's a standard, 92 defending, 86 physical. It's okay, but it doesn't give you that wow factor. We've got good composure, agility balance for a centre-back's not terrible, some okay passing, but the defending and physical are at a good level. You obviously do need a shadow with him, and he has got team player as the two traits, but I think with Blanc, it isn't necessarily the exterior of the card of what you can see here. It is definitely the interior in-game. It is just a very, very solid centre-back. And especially if you have a Virgil, a Kimpembe, somebody who is a masterclass of pace next to him, he is an absolute genius as the back. Definitely very much more of the sweeper centre-back sort of vibe, and he will do an absolute job for you for the price that you pay for him. Then we go to the left back, which, again, to be honest, there's not a huge variety. In terms of my favourite left back, we're obviously going for Roberto Carlos. But the price for him is definitely that little bit more. And obviously with this, each position is meant to be the most efficient. It doesn't necessarily mean the best in every position, because otherwise we'd have Maldini, we'd have Vidic, we'd have obviously a Team of the Year icon Van der Sar. We are going for what the price is saying versus how good icons are in each position. Ashley Cole, a brand new one, always never been a big fan of him, to be honest. His base mid prime definitely could be better. I feel like he definitely represented a better left back in game, in real life, than he does in the actual game. And I think with fullbacks definitely don't get that big of an upgrade that we deserve, because mainly I think people would just put him into centre mid instead. Obviously with the new chem system we could easily do that and obviously change it in game if we wanted. But this Ashley Cole coming in relatively cheap, great pace, passing's decent, great dribbling on him, the defending, the physical's nice. He's got a very well-rounded card. You rack an anchor on him and he's a very, very top-end left back. Still got the same animations, which is up and down at times, but I feel like in terms of this left back, he's better than what you can get for a monstrous price. I think Roberto Carlos's Prime and World Cup are pretty much double the value of Ashley Cole, so he's going to be my left back. Now in terms of right mid, we have obviously gone with a base Garrincha. So for him, there is a few. You've got Garrincha, Best, Jairzinho. You now have the Team of the Year icon Beckham, as well as then a couple more that can be kind of transferred into a right mid / right wing. But I think in terms of price, the base Garrincha in a right mid sort of role is very nice. And also in a right wing, you're obviously not going to complain. The big one for me would have been the mid Jairzinho, but that's still coming in way over 1 million coins, whereas this card is definitely still going to do the job. He's got the 5-star, 4-star, medium low 5-7, very good agility balance. He's quick, he's got the dribbling, the passing, obviously shooting could do with some work, but you can always go with the Hunter, max out that pace to as much as possible, also then reaping the benefits of a shooting bonus and having the dribbling and passing already at a top level. I think for me that is a no-brainer card whatsoever. Power free kick and flair as well, so you have got a little bit of free kicks. If you don't necessarily have one in your team already, he will offer that sort of option as well. On to the first centre mid then. It's going to be, drum roll, Mid Matthias. What a card this is. Again, Prime, World Cup. We've got a very, very good selection. The only one I don't really fancy too much from Matthias is going to be the base. I feel like he's definitely a little bit outdated now, but the mid, I think last year or the year before we used him right up until team of the season, and he was an absolute gem in the middle. He's got everything you need in a CDM. He's got great pace. He's got a little bit of shooting if you really wanted to venture that little bit more with him, as well as the passing. The dribbling's good enough, not necessarily the most incredible until he hits the prime, as that is more box to box kind of variation, but the defending's good. He's got great aggression, could do with a bit of a physical upgrade, but most definitely wouldn't really be hindered if you didn't. I feel like he's just in the way constantly. He has the interceptions, and he just is an overall pest in that middle because you just cannot get the ball off him. Solid player is the only trait, a wonderful, wonderful middle, and if a CDM's not partnered with a cam, then then what are you doing? Zidane's coming in next, and mainly because Zidane's coming in at a high price, and I feel like in terms of centre mid attacks, if you want the best, or at least one of the best ones, they are coming at a high price. But the big thing with Zidane right now, and because we've got a few days left, I thought I'd chuck this one in there, is that he is an SBC currently. We spent a lot of coins trying to get him done, or at least a lot of fodder. More than likely, you should be able to get him done relatively easy with the grind. If you've already started him by now, I know he's got a few days left, but he's still got, I think, a solid week to do. So obviously with all of the Team of the Year packs, it should be a no-brainer to maybe try and finish off Zidane. He can be centre mid, cam, or left mid. He's got incredible stats, and if you manage to get the World Cup or Prime as well, this card is an absolute beast in the middle. He can hold that defensive line as well. He may not have necessarily the most incredible defending, but what he kind of has from, obviously, the 6'1" height, the great strength, a little bit of interceptions, he just puts himself in the way, and a lot of the time, it does work. He has got finesse and flair, his passing is elite, his shooting is elite, and he's got relatively good pace if you wanted to whack some more on as well. We've gone with the shadow just to kind of bounce him around into that more box-to-box scenario, but most definitely could be just labelled as a full cam and just get rid of the defending and just keep 2 CDMs behind him. But he's absolutely crazy to do. Definitely one of the most efficient ones you can get with the SBC currently out. Now into left mid. Again, Team of the Year icon Perez was definitely up there. Another one that they've definitely turned more usable, but he's coming in at about 850, which for me is a little bit high to be putting on a left mid. I would rather wait and put that on a striker, but we've gone with our man Thierry Henry. His mid version, good price, 4-star, 4-star, and I do like this version of him. We used his base from the very start, and he is so quick down that wing. To say that he's, what, 6'2", a very tall winger, but so rapid in that left wing kind of slot. He gets in behind the defenders. If you wanted to go more right wing and swap him over, then obviously you can get more of a cross on him, but if you are looking for the cut-ins, the left wing is the place to be. We have got finesse and flair as the 2 traits, and in terms of everything, pace-wise is brilliant. You can go with more pace if you really wanted to. His finishing is good. Shot power a little bit less. The only thing that ever really bothers Thierry Henry is the balance. And personally, I don't quite know why they put it so low. It just seems to be every single time now, that is the kind of stat that really takes him off. And this year, it's definitely not affected him as much as previous years, as that is why we've seen a more hold of price for him. Obviously, his name will keep him up at a certain value, but there's only so much that can do in the long run. Normally, you do see him drop down a hell of a lot, and he's actually managed to keep somewhat of a decent price for the card himself. But the passing's good, the dribbling solid, bar from the balance, little bit of physicality, which is nice. He naturally has a big frame of 6'2", and he just is a monster going forward. Then we move on to the final 2, the 2 strikers. We have got first up World Cup Dalglish, a monster, coming in relatively cheap, just over $500,000. This is a beautiful card to get. A 4-star, 5-star, hasn't had an upgrade from the Prime, but most definitely is a lot cheaper by about $250, and is only got basically an inform upgrade. This card is the one to go for, and I think in general, he's such an easy striker to pick up. It's why I had to pick him. You can literally just plop him into a team, and no matter what style you play, he can do it. You want to pass it to feet? Not a problem. He's got good passing. If you want him to run through on ball, fantastic again. If you wanted to kind of push wide, go down the wing a little bit, again, the pace works really well. Plus, obviously, having the 4-star, 5-star, solid at skills, does have the agility balance to back it up, then also has the weak foot that just can't be matched, and in general can finish like the best of them. I think this is a wonderful icon if you are looking for more of the cheap variety rather than your push gases, your Eusebios, your Cruyffs, your R9s. They're coming in at a very top elite price tag. Dalglish is coming in at a nice little bit of a medium sort of price, and that is the same for his counterpart. It's going to be base Eto'o. Again, I've gone with more of a wide variety striker. A lot of people, well, most people tend to do the kind of just through balls, ping it down him, get somebody fast, we're sorted. A 4-star, 4-star, 94 paced Eto'o, any version of Eto is absolutely phenomenal in this game. A medium-low work rate. We have got finesse and outside of the foot as the two traits as well. Obviously, shooting's still very, very good. We can whack a chem style to make that even better, as well as having dribbling at a very good level. Passing at a solid level, kind of just on the average sort of scale compared to cards now, but this card has been released from the start of the game. So that tells you keeping his price at 400,000-500,000 and obviously having multiple base upgrades, this card is definitely one to look at if you are struggling to find that card that gives you that wow factor. He's got a little bit of strength, nothing too crazy, but you definitely want a little bit more on that shooting, as well as then some dribbling potentially, or physical, and you have got yourself an absolute key striker. And that's going to be the most efficient players you can get as icons in FIFA 23 in every position. If you'd like to see it broken down, check on the screen, and I believe the attackers should be there if you want to check all of them out. Take care. Peace.